Hey guys, my name is Silas, and I'm in the Freedom Group. Uh, I recently shared kind of like a little testimony of what something happened to me in my life with my family, and I was asked to do a video on it. We're in the Freedom Book. If you guys go through the Freedom program, you'll know what that is. And we were on Power of Words. Life had been pretty just going fast paced for me, so literally got to Thursday, and my wife does Freedom Group in the afternoon, and then I do in the evening. My kids are at school, so and I live way out in the country, about 45 minutes away from Columbus, which is where my Freedom Group is, and hers. So constantly running back and forth on that day. And the week leading up to that was it was very intense for me. There's not a lot of downtime. Well, that Thursday, we go to her group. I come home, and I had not done my homework. I have about an hour or so to just focus, get what I need to get done, and then I have to leave again. My two little kids, I got 4 kids, my 2 little ones, I'm lucky enough to have my grandma. She came and picked them up, or my mom, their grandma, picked them up. She was going to watch them while I went to Freedom Groups, help my wife out. My 2 older ones came back. My daughter's 12, and my wife was in the room just relaxing. So like I said, we've been running. So I sit down on the couch, kind of laid down. I put on some worship music, very low. Got my Bible, got the book, and behind me is the kitchen. And my daughter comes out because she's doing her chores, which is dishes. And so I'm reading my book, and she's humming the gospel, music, and she's doing her stuff. And I'm going through the book, and right when I get toward the end, there's a list of just words, I guess, and it's split down the middle. It's split like this. It's got words of death, words of life. And I read these words, and they affected me really bad. And I was like, ooh, when I read the death words, I was like, man, I've heard some of those, I've said some of those, and it really affected my mood. It did. And then I switched to the life, and I read the life ones, and it affected my mood in a positive way. It affected me so much that I wanted to share it. So I called my daughter over. I was like, Lydia, come here. So she came over, and she's like right here now because I'm laying down. So she's right here. She's like, what's up? And I was like, I want to try something with you. And she's like, okay. So I covered the life ones first. I covered them up, and I told her, read the words right here. So she read them. When she was done, I was watching her face, everything, and when she was done, I asked her, how did that make you feel? And she told me, like crap. It makes me feel really bad. Like, I don't like those words. I don't like the way that makes me feel. I was like, okay. So I switched, and I covered up the death words, and I told her to read the life words. And as she's reading them, I'm watching her face, and she's getting the sum, and she's smiling and really happy, bright, and her whole demeanor is just getting bright. So when she was done, I asked her how it made her feel, and she's like, I really like that. Like, I really like the way those make me feel. I really like those words. I was like, okay. So then I turned around, and I was like, I want to try something with you if you're okay. She was like, yeah. So I stood up, and I looked her in the face, and I picked the book up, and I read each one of those to her. I personalized them, so it wasn't just like I read the word. I put it in a sentence. I made it personal to her, and she got real emotional, and she said she really, really liked the way that made her feel. So I gave her a hug, and I told her that I'm going to do better, and I'm going to try to incorporate more positive, life-giving words to her. And that made her really happy, like smile, the whole 9 yards. Then my wife comes in and I have to go. So hugs, kisses, the whole 9 yards. I get in the car and I take off. I do my freedom group. And my freedom group is like at 7 and it ends at like 9, something like that. So I don't get home till like 10:30. Like 10:30. I get home. My wife is in a great mood. My daughter's still awake. Usually she's asleep because she's supposed to be in bed around 9:30. She's still up. She comes in, huge smile, gives me a hug, tells me she loves me, tells my wife she loves her, good night, and goes to bed. No issues. And I was like, what's going on? My wife explains. She's like, I have no idea. She is in a great mood. Like, she helped me with extra stuff. She asked me if she could help around the house. She went out and did the dog poop. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah. My daughter comes back in. She's like, without asking. And I was like, good job. Like, I'm so proud of you. Wow. High five, the whole 9 yards. Because usually it's a struggle for that. But yeah, it was really cool. And I had my book and my notes, from the meeting, and I had it on the table. And she asked me how the meeting went, and I explained it was amazing, it was great, blah blah. I told her how I felt, and I was super excited to just tell her. And then I went to the bathroom. I come back and she's kind of just snooping, nosing through my notes. And it's still in Power of Words and forgiveness and all that. And then I realized that I missed an opportunity because she saw something. She saw the light, the shining that my daughter was and how it affected her. And I missed the opportunity once my daughter left to do that with her. So I was like, ooh, now I got to do it. So I stopped her because she was cleaning, and I stopped her and I grabbed her hands and I looked her in the face and I was like, I did something with Lydia and I want to do something with you if you'll let me. And she was like, yeah, of course. I was like, okay, cool. So I did the exact same thing. Covered it up, let her read the death first, asked her how she felt. It was emotional, she didn't like that. I asked her how the life made her felt. I really like those. I was like, cool. It was kind of like those are nice, I like those. So I was like, okay. Not as big of a reaction as I thought it was going to be, but still a good reaction. And then I took her by the hands and I said, I'd like to do something with you if you'll let me. She's like, yeah. And I did the exact same thing. I read each one and I personalized it. I personalized every single one of them. And when I got when I was reading certain ones, like all of them are amazing, but when I read certain ones to her that I personalized, I could see it in her face. And it made me realize as well that as a husband I had been failing, because there was words on there that I didn't tell her. I didn't. Just like a simple one, I'm committed to you. I took that for granted, you know what I mean? I'm married to you, of course I'm committed to you. But, man, the reaction, there was happy tears. And I had to pick her up, put her on the island, and just hold her. And it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And seeing those reactions and the way it just made just those my two precious girls light up. It does the same thing for boys. It's the same thing for men. But I've tried to start doing that even with friends in my life. Friends that I might not talk to for a while. I'm military, so most of the time I don't talk to you for years. But when I see you or when I start talking to you, it's like we never left. But I've started just trying randomly just to send a positive message to somebody with words of life. And it's changed my life. And I hope it can change yours. But thanks for your time. I know it's kind of a long video, 10 minutes, but I just wanted to share that with you and my testimony for it. Appreciate it.